Hi, Kimmy. Love your Give to Blue Day background.
Thanks. 3 weeks away, man.
Kimmy, I'm obsessed with those mugs that Jade designed. I
Me
have
too.
to
I
get
I
want
haven't
one.
seen them.
Oh, Courtney, I'll show them to you.
I
It's on
can't.
Twitter.
If Jade made them, then they're amazing.
Yeah,
They're so cute. They have like Indiana State icons all around them. And,
Oh,
my
It's
god.
kind of like, have you seen the Starbucks cups, Courtney, that have the doodles? It's like that, but issue.
love it. Oh, I can't wait to see them.
And she put in like little, like the financial trading room stock thingy is in there. And I think it says like 1865 and her grad years on one of the clocks is so cool.
I love anything with doodles. Let's see who we have. Hey, Michelle. Bo, did you figure out how to see thumbnails this time?
No.
No. Oh.
I'm clicking all the buttons right now behind the scenes.
Wow, we are so techie.
Okay, I got it. Michelle, we did not have to waste 2 hours of your Wednesday night like last time.
I almost texted, but I figured you guys got it on lock.
Did we
Michelle
learn?
is our friend that is a great resource to us. When in doubt, have your friends look over things before you do them.
For sure.
Hey, Jen Kersey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you, ladies?
Good. Oh my
Good.
God. Who's here from Davies and Dixon? Is it Kendall?
I cannot present now.
We quit. Davies and Dixon is another awesome marketing agency that you should follow on social media that is also some of our besties. And they are located in Seattle, which is also super cool. All right. We're at 12:01. Give it a couple more minutes, maybe.
Yeah, there's still people coming in.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes, Courtney, but it sounds like you guys have gone national. If we have people on here from Seattle, that's gone beyond your little roots in in Terre Haute, huh?
Oh, well, that's just one of my good friends. She lives in Arizona now. They're just little world travelers.
Very cool.
Yep, I was like, Kendall, feel free to hop in if you have better information than us. Kendall's also a great marketer.
Yes. Okay, I'm trying to get all my screens in place. Oh, thanks, Kendall. Thanks for the words of encouragement.
Okay. Bo and Courtney, I think if you're ready, we don't have our internal person who tracks how many people are in the meeting or supposed to be in the meeting is off today. So We had about 55 for the beginner workshop. So 34 is not too shabby either. But I wanted to say hello and welcome everybody. My name is Katie Shane. I'm the Director of Membership Development and Communications here at the Chamber of Commerce. And we are so excited to have the ladies of BoCo with us again. They became members of the Chamber a couple of months ago. I had been hounding them to join the Chamber just selfishly because I think they do amazing work. So when they approached us about doing partnering on these sessions, I couldn't type yes fast enough to them for sure. A lot of you guys know Courtney and Bo, but just to give you a quick little bio on each of them. Courtney Cook is the creative director and co-founder of BoCo Collective Marketing. She's raised in Colorado, came to Indiana for school. And not only does she do BoCo, but she and her husband also own Clay Plant Road. If you haven't checked them out, while they were talking about it in the beginner series, I was cruising their Instagram. So really, really great work from Courtney. And Bo Turner is the marketing director and also co-founder. She was actually adopted from China. So world traveler, even as a baby, went to Indiana State University and worked at ISU in marketing. That's how I was fortunate enough to meet her. But both are smart, beautiful travelers and have some great things to teach us all. So I will pass it along to Bo and Courtney. I do want to mention one thing. Both the beginner series and today's will be up on the Chamber of Commerce website. And I see a lot of our chamber members on here, but I see a lot of people that are not chamber members. So if you do want to learn more about the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce or Launch Terre Haute, which also is under our umbrella, just let me know. I'm happy to give you my song and dance. So anyway, Bo, Courtney, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Katie. Love the intro. You make us sound so cool.
Oh, it's easy.
Well, nice to meet everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Like Katie mentioned, my name is Bo Turner, and this is our intermediate workshop. Last week was our beginners, and that can be found on YouTube. And this one will be as well. So last week we did kind of a high level view of different social media platforms. And we talked about the value of social media, why to use social media and how it's helpful for your business. We talked briefly about the different social platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube, and kind of a high level overview of which one you should be on. And then this intermediate session, we're going to dive deeper into Instagram and Facebook. And then we also last week talked about creating content, and we're going to go into some more depth on that for this session. And then we're also going to talk about tips, and we'll give some additional tips and resources at the end. And then what you're going to learn today is, I guess I forgot about this. I just repeated myself. We're going to go deeper into Facebook and Instagram, creating content, provide some photography tips from Courtney, and also go into different resources that we use and that will be beneficial for you all. So kind of a brief overview of us about BoCo. We started June 2020, so it's not even been a year. Courtney's had a freelance design company for the past 5 years, and we skyrocketed off of that earlier last year. So we like to say that we're a digital marketing and creative agency that will build your brand street cred. And so we'll take anything from the digital or physical world and make sure that it is up to brand, and make sure that we ever like to say we're your one-stop shop for brand identity, website design, graphic design, photography, and social media. And I'll give a little background about me. I was adopted from China when I was 1 year old, and I grew up in Terre Haute, Indiana. Went to Terre Haute North, went to Indiana State University and graduated with a marketing degree. And actually got a full-time job there afterwards in the marketing office as a project manager, and that transitioned into content strategy and some social media. And for fun, I do love traveling. COVID really put a spike on that, but it's been fun to be able to do some road trips and travel locally. So I have been doing that for the past few months, and I'm excited for travel to open back up in the future. And Courtney, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Courtney Cook. I feel like Katie already gave a great intro, but I'm the co-founder and creative director of BoCo. So I mainly specialize in graphic design, but I also do photography, website design, social media templates, anything that really is like the overall look and brand of something. I'm originally from Colorado, and I actually came to Indiana to go to St. Mary of the Woods, where my grandma is an alum. And then after I graduated, I ended up at the marketing office at Indiana State, where I met Bo and became quick friends. And then we eventually started our business together. So I guess on the side, I like to like bake and work out. I'm really obsessed with my dog. Like if you know me, you've already seen way too much of him. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And Bo and I guess we have to say too, we both love food like way too much.
Yes, and we'd like to get to know you a little bit more. So drop in the chat if you're kind of where you're from, what business you're representing, and what you're excited to learn about in this session.
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to talk a little bit about is, and dive deeper into this intermediate session. First is Facebook. So we're going to go over the actual setup, features, posting frequency, and insights. And also, please feel free to drop any questions about any of these specific things in the chat during this, and we can try and answer them. So the first thing is setting up your business page on Facebook, which is super important. And it kind of interacts as a secondary website for your business. So you're able to store like a menu there, your actual website link, contact information. It's almost as important as a website for your business, and it makes you look very legitimate. And on your Facebook business page, you're going to want to make sure that your branding is consistent across everything. So your profile image, banner image, the templates that you use when you're posting, all of those sorts of things need to be consistent. The next great feature that Facebook and both Instagram have is shopping. So you're able to connect your commerce store to your Facebook and Instagram, so people are able to easily view your items and even check out on the platforms. So this is a great resource to people that have e-commerce businesses. Yes, and any questions about that, we can definitely answer.
And Courtney, you said that some businesses you had to get approved for Facebook shopping. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, there are some restrictions. So generally, especially if you're a new business starting e-commerce, we recommend like don't request to have Facebook shopping the first day you start your Instagram page or Facebook page. Definitely make sure you get a few posts on there. Make sure that you look like you're a legitimate business first before you try and integrate that, because they can deny you if your page doesn't look like, if it looks like it's brand new or spam or something like that.
Yes, very good. And do you do that for Clay Plant Road?
So for Clay Plant Road, we actually we do for some items. For example, we use drop shipping to supply like hats and t-shirts. So with those items, we do or I will use it. But for items that are like quickly evolving, for example, our mugs, they're up there and then they sell. So it doesn't necessarily make sense for things that are selling out super quickly. So if it is a situation where you have a large quantity of inventory, then it probably makes sense for you. The next thing that really valuable resource we're going to talk about on Facebook are Facebook groups. And there's so many different ways you can approach these. So this is a great example that actually our friend in this chat, Kendall, showed us. But so this is like a women in marketing Facebook group. We've gotten clients from here, and we've also just learned a lot of great information here. So Facebook groups, it works both ways. You can learn things about the industry, and you can find new business in your industry. And you can also, if you're a reputable brand, you can create a Facebook group for yourself as well if you're trying to cultivate a community. One of our friends slash clients, the Farm and Co, is a great example. She has a huge Facebook group that is a community now where they share lots of different things, not just about her business.
Yes. Courtney, we had a question in the chat about the Facebook store, and they have a Square store. Do you know if that's able to be integrated into Facebook, or if
I think it is able to. I know for sure I have more experience with Shopify and WooCommerce, but I would be willing to bet, and we can definitely send you some information on that and look it up and let you know.
Yes. I think that's all the questions I saw.
Okay, cool. I was just reading through them real quick. Okay, and then the next tip we like to remind people of, and it might seem obvious, but it's a great thing to like even just put on your calendar every 2 weeks to remind yourself to do, is inviting your friends to like your Facebook business page to help grow your following. Your biggest supporters are generally going to be your family and friends. So don't feel afraid to invite them to like your business page. And this is how you do it on your business page.
Yes. Another feature that we like to make sure whenever you're setting up your Facebook business page is to add pictures to your banner, but you can also go in the extra step and make it a slideshow or a video. So if you have a video of your products, that's recommended because it gives people a really cool visual whenever they get onto your page. But you can also set up a slideshow. So it'll just have different photos that you can swipe through and give some more depth to your page. And then also on the settings tab, and we've pointed it out here, you can edit the tabs. So you can prioritize different items that would be most helpful for your customers. So if people want to see, for example, reviews first, videos, photos, events, if you're an event venue, and if you're a very group focused, you can slide those up and down and prioritize them on the top of your header so people can quickly click on it. And especially if you're a restaurant, you can move your menu up to the top and then people can see those really fast. Does anybody have any questions? I've been trying to check the chat, but if you do, just feel free to put them in there and we'll try to look at them as best as we can. We touched on this last meeting, but talking about the posting frequency for Facebook, this does vary per industry, but we do recommend at least 3 times a week on Facebook just to stay active and relevant so people know that you're producing good content. And this also helps with your search engine optimization and really just all encompassing with your brand. The more posts, the better, but as well, you want to make sure that your posts are providing value and that people are engaging with them and really making sure that you're giving them content that they want. It's better to post 3 times a week, really good content versus 7 times a week and 3 posts don't even make sense for your brand. So making sure you're adding a lot of value every time you post. And then this is my part. I love insights and analytics on social media. So
Spreadsheet genius.
all the spreadsheets. I have to remind myself I don't need to look into everything, but to stay focused because it gets really interesting. You can see the insights on your page. So we took screenshots on some of the different tabs that you'll just see, but I really like to focus on the people because I think that's really interesting. So if you want to gauge your audience, who your current audience is. So For this page, women are 88% following and men are 12%. And then that's a really good way to also see your demographics of where the location is. Okay, a lot of people are in Rosedale or Rockville. This is so small. Rockville or Terre Haute. It's really interesting to see people internationally like, oh, there's somebody from Germany that likes me, which is really cool. But then also we go into, Courtney, we click the next slide.
Yep, and I think too, kind of to tie back in with you're figuring out your posting. A lot of what Bo and I do is we do look at analytics and we really analyze what posts perform well, because it does help us guide us like for the upcoming months. You know, we know what isn't going to perform well and we know what is going to perform well, and we build our marketing strategy around previous posts.
Yes, and to answer Lauren's question about do we post the same content on Instagram and Facebook? It varies per client. And in the beginning, we usually do just to see what picks up and is engaging for both audiences. And then we tailor that as the time goes on. So maybe for the first month, we will post the same thing, say like, okay, well, Facebook really likes pretty plant pictures and Instagram really likes dog pictures. So just reviewing those insights and analytics and then tailoring according to those on the best performing posts.
And a lot of that is about the age group too that are on those individual pages. We've just found that like a little bit older of an audience is on Facebook, so we do generally tailor the content. And then the other question, you want to link your Instagram to your Facebook so you can post from Facebook. Bo has a great tip. What is the thing that you use to post from Facebook to Instagram?
It's Facebook. So Facebook in the past couple months have been really ramping up their scheduling capabilities through the platform, so you don't have to use a third party site like Hootsuite or later.com. You're able to go, it's called business. They change the name all the time. It's called like business.facebook.apps. Like just type in business Facebook. It's a gray little icon. I think we have a picture in it later. But you're able to schedule posts for Facebook and Instagram, and you can pick which one you want and it'll just send out automatically. So we like to post live for our clients most of the time, just because there's different features that we can do posting live versus having it scheduled. But we do occasionally schedule posts if have a busy day, or if the post is fine without having to do some different intricacies in Instagram. And for posting during certain times of the day, this is also something you can find in your analytics, is whenever your audience is on Facebook and Instagram. We'll go into how to find Instagram analytics in a second, but for Facebook, you can see, okay, my people are active during 9 a.m. to noon or 6 p.m. So that's kind of how we tailor on when the best times are to post. But as a general rule, we like to post between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. so that people can see those posts the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing some type of promotional post, we try to post a day before just so that people can see the post the whole day and then into tomorrow, because that's how the algorithm works. It's not like Twitter where it's a live feed. They do tailor it towards people's preferences. Yes. And go ahead,
Sorry.
Courtney.
Anything else on that, Bo?
Nope, I'm good.
So next we're gonna dive in a little bit more to Instagram, and again, feel free to throw any messages specifically about Facebook into the chat. For Instagram, we're gonna go over setup, features, posting frequency, and also insights.
And yes, Amber, you're right. It is Business Suite. I don't know why I couldn't think of it.
I feel like
You're
they
right.
the name like 4 times. Never remember. Go ahead.
Oh, right. Okay, so this is your business profile for Instagram, and we make sure if you're doing a business account to set it up as a business profile, because you can get some insights and analytics, and it gives you different features to put on your bio, such as contact info, adding your website, and getting insights and analytics. And this is how you access your insights. Hit on the settings and hit insights. And then you're able to, there's a whole bunch of different cool things to click on. So make sure you click on each section because it looks like it doesn't give you that much, but go deeper into it. And you can toggle, like for example, post reach within the last year, within the last 30 days. And really it's fun to see the different stats inside. And then if you're on an individual post, so like for example, a mug photo, and you want to just swipe up on your actual photo, you'll get these post insights. It's a really nice snapshot of being able to see, okay, well, this picture specifically got 1,500 likes, 51 comments, 26 shares. People visited my profile 700 times. And this is like the different reach and discovery, like 40,000 people saw it. And 86% of people weren't following me. It's just really interesting to see those and then tailor your content based off of the best performing posts.
Yes, which with Clay Plant Road, I mean, we do this all the time. We already know like mug photos just do the best. We and sometimes we just have to post other content because it needs to be posted, but I'm already expecting that it might not perform as well.
Yes. And that's something Courtney has to remind me about, that not every post can be a top performing post. You are going to have, no matter if you have 10 amazing posts, there's always going to be one that outperforms the rest. So
Yeah.
Be mindful of that. One of the greatest assets for Instagram is optimizing your bio. So you have your handle, which is your @ symbol, which is shown at the top. But then this line down here, it says flowers, plants, and home decor. That's a really good place to put specifically what you do, because well, you can, but we don't necessarily recommend putting your handle again, because unless people know exactly who you are, it's not going to pull you in.
Or just adding more descriptors. For example, like our Clay Plant Road handle is just Clay Plant Road, but then the name that we use is Clay Plant Road Pottery, just to add an additional descriptor. I've seen a lot of, for example, photographers that their handle is one thing and then their name is like Indiana photographer or Indiana family photographer, just something that's going to more easily people will be able to find you in searches.
We think of it as a Google search bar. So what are people going to be typing into Google? And then you'll want that to to inspire that one-liner.
Mm-hmm.
And then making sure you categorize yourself accordingly, if it's shopping or retail, blog, those types of descriptors. And all of these can be edited in your settings. Mm-hmm. And then we like to make sure that the first line of the bio is who you are, what you offer. And then something that makes you stand out, so it makes you unique in the community or in general. Make sure you have a call to action. And then if you're a physical shop, putting your shop hours is really beneficial, so people can quickly see, okay, when are you open? And I don't have to go to your website, type into Google. It relieves an extra step for people. And then make sure you put your website or your link in bio. And then also your address if you have a physical location. And all of these features can also be altered. So if you don't have a physical location, you can remove that line as well.
Yes. And so now we'll talk a little bit about highlights and covers, and kind of to piggyback on what Bo was talking about. I also like to think of your highlight covers as kind of little store places for specific information people might want to find at a later date, because if you make a post that's about your business hours, it might be hard for people to later find that, whereas if you have a highlight cover that is studio or store hours, they're going to immediately be able to find that information. So highlights are 24-hour posts of information that are posted onto your story. And like I said, you're able to save them within highlight covers and then organize them by different sections. So for example, and a lot of people think that too, that stories have to be like real-time content or more organic, but like I'm kind of saying, they can be kind of places to store information that you might want people to be able to easily reference. So for example, these are the stories in our about highlight for Clay Plant Road. So people can like easily and quickly read about us and how we started. And I designed these in Canva, which Canva is a great app to make stories and things like that. And there's a lot of other apps where you can design stories. We've just found Canva is the easiest to share between like two people.
Kimmy asked, what are impressions and how are they different than people reached? Impressions are the amount of times that people look on your post. So for example, if I am going to Clay Plant Road, and I click on a post 5 times, it's going to register me as impressions 5 times. But for reach, it'll only register me as once because I'm a unique user. So reach is, they're both important, but reach is, I usually put more weight on that because it's a unique user visiting your page. And then impressions are how many times multiple people are like looking at that post. And then are there certain Instagram engagement metrics, likes, shares, comments, etc., that are better to focus on? And if so, how?
It kind of all, I mean, it all adds up. And that's why we like to look at insights, because you're able to see like a nice overview of what performed the best based on the combination of all of the things, not just individually likes or saves or whatever it may be. There's a lot of like graphics that are going around right now saying that saves are most important, but I would also make sure to research before you completely change your whole marketing strategy, because I mean, I'm not even sure that that's accurate at this point in time. So I guess we just recommend, you know, reading about it, keeping up to date with whatever Facebook and Instagram put out in the media. It kind of all matters though.
Mm-hmm. But I will say that likes aren't everything. There's definitely more better things than to be liked. So don't let that always discourage you if your post gets 10 likes, but it was shared 50 times. Like that's definitely a better indicator than necessarily somebody pressing a like button.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, you have to look at it in the perspective of how many likes your page has, and kind of comparing those numbers based on that. Okay, next thing is Reels versus IGTV. So Reels are short clips that are 15 to 30 seconds long, whereas IGTV is long videos that can be between 1 minute and 60 minutes. And I will preface that the longer videos do have to be uploaded, I believe, on a desktop, right, Bo?
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people are going to actually want to do that, but you're able to if you if you want to. So yeah, there are just different kind of formats of when you'd want to use both of these depending on your video length.
We would compare Reels came out after TikTok. So if you want a good comparison, Reels and TikTok are similar. And it is pretty frustrating that Instagram only gives certain features to different accounts. And we've experienced this between all of the different, even if we're on business accounts. For example, one account we can use music. Yeah, one we can't use GIFs. It's so random on how they pick who gets what features.
Yeah. So if you're not seeing features, then don't be worried. They just are randomly choosing who gets what.
Yes. And Kendall, if you know any more insights on who gets what, that would be really cool. You know, we do know that it's though, like once you get 10,000 followers on Instagram, you can use the swipe up in your stories. So that's a really cool feature that you can't use.
Because otherwise there's really not a great way to link to a URL other than putting in your bio. The next thing are IG Lives, which are great for engagement, doing question and answers with your followers, and vlogging. The best example I can give of this is one of my friends is an author, and she does a lot of Q&A with her readers that are really, really interactive, and they absolutely love them. So if you feel like you have an audience that has a lot of questions, it might be a good thing for you to utilize. I'm reading Kendall's response. So she says they like to test different features, so they slow roll them out to some accounts, but not all. So there's not much to do about it if you don't get some of them, but I guess just don't be worried if you don't have them immediately.
Hold on, Courtney, I think you skipped a slide.
Oh, did I? Oh, I did. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Here are the different posting options and how they will show up on your feed. So you'll have a GIF or a video. So it'll show up with a little triangle. And then if you have a swipe gallery, it'll show up as a square, like a layered square. And those are really good for like standalone pictures if you have 1 or 2 photos. I would recommend doing a GIF if you have multiple photos, just because instead of a gallery of like 10 photos, just because a lot of people don't swipe 10 photos deep, but they'll sit there and watch a video or a GIF quickly cycle through the photos. And then having individual photos is really nice to just, if you have a really concise call to action or thing that you want people to see. And then also doing videos, of course, are amazing. Instagram and Facebook both really prioritize videos. Yes.
But do you have a quick way to make GIFs or trick for you?
To make GIFs, so I use a video editor actually. I just upload all the photos to a video and just make them really short, like cut the time short, and then download it as a video.
And that app is Video Leap, right?
Video Leap. Yes, they have a free version, but we bought the paid version. It's $40 a year. Definitely worth it, and it has a lot of cool features. And if you use TikTok a lot, that helps. We don't use TikTok a lot, but we thought we were going to. But I still like to use them for like GIFs and everything. Mm-hmm. Another interesting feature that Instagram has is being able to save your replies. If you're a business and you get a lot of frequently asked questions, you can save your reply. So this is kind of like in your settings. When you're in your messages with people, you'll see a plus sign, and then you'll go to the little chat icon. It's like it's the 3 dots right next to the X. Yep. And then you can add an instant response and then put those on, and it makes things a lot easier if people are asking, what's your menu, or what are your hours? And you just send those really fast.
Yep.
Then we're going to talk about, posting frequency. So having a consistent posting until you have a really good steady following is very important, so that people don't think you've posted 3 times a week and then you post nothing for a month. They think you went out of business or something happened. Just making sure you're consistent. We do recommend at least 3 posts on Instagram as well, and doing more the merrier if your audience is engaged and they're finding value in your content. And you can also supplement posts with being very active on your Instagram stories. That's a really good way to not necessarily like bog down people's feeds or have people get annoyed with you if they want to engage on your stories. Next, I hope anybody doesn't have any questions. If you do, I know we're about halfway through. Well, yeah, time-wise. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about creating content. So we're going to dive deeper into the topics that we talked about last week on the different content types that we like to use as a guide for guiding our strategy. We will talk more in depth about these coming up, but user-generated, there's about 9 different types of content that we like to build around. And Courtney, if you'll go ahead, and if you want to screenshot this slide, and then we can talk more in depth on that.
Okay, so the first one is user-generated content, also known as user-created content. It can be forms of content that are like images, videos, text. So it could even be, let's say, a testimonial. But it's anything that features your product or business that's taken by someone other than you or your marketing team. And it's a great way to interact with your community that you've built, and also grow your following if they have a larger following. So, for example, this is a plant page, and she has way more followers than we do, but it helps grow your following if someone else posts something with your product or business. And that's kind of the big part too of how influencers are helping businesses grow. And always ask permission to use other people's photos, and give credit to them before you use them. So the next thing is announcements, which can be new products, new specials, expansions, any business updates to get people excited, and just to keep them interacting with your business. You can also always share events, and also, side note, we always recommend if you have an event to add it to your Facebook events, just because it generally reaches way more people on there. But providing date, location, time, offerings about upcoming events. And we normally recommend to post these at least 2 weeks beforehand. If it's a really large event, even earlier. The earlier the better. And we like to consistently plan like reminder posts about events. And then also recap posts of events are great as well. People love to see, sorry, my washer. People love to see recap of events, and see like how it went, and any pictures of the event or people that were there. So
You can also post events on LinkedIn if it's a corporate event, which is nice.
The next thing is posting things that are personable. We always like to say that people want to support people, not necessarily businesses. So if you're able to, showcasing the people behind the business, whether it's the owners, the staff, the employees, anyone that is involved in the business, is a great way to add a personality to your brand, and telling the story as an individual of how your business began, or just anything that you can share with people that might provide value. The next thing is sharing the history of a company. So pretty simple. I mean, when it was founded, how it was founded, background story. Something fun I like to do too is, as a designer, is I like to share the forgotten logos that maybe didn't get chosen, like what a logo for a brand could have looked like. I think that's a really fun way to show like where your business started, how you named a business, anything that can kind of give people reminders of, you know, we all start somewhere, and it takes time to get where you are.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
It's my slide, Courtney.
Sorry.
To also mix it up, adding some fun and entertaining content that can either relate to pop culture or a major milestone. For example, if you've reached 10,000 followers on Instagram, just thanking people, thank you so much for, you know, helping us get this far and following along with our journey. And also, like, for example, the burning mittens trend, making sure that you can stay on top of those trends, and staying current, and that people can engage and really get involved. And kind of piggybacking off of that, it's creating some creating interactive posts. So engaging with your followers is huge. Making sure that they feel like they're a part of a community, and they have a reason to come to your page, for more than just understanding what you might sell or serve. So for example, doing a giveaway post to help encourage people to tag your friends, but also gets you new followers and new exposure to people that might not have been following you already. And for example, this is a giveaway that where Clay Plant Road partnered with an author, Shelby Mahurin, as a joint giveaway. So it helps both companies with the partnership to get new exposure, and also aligning. But I guess it's be careful of like who you partner with, because you want to make sure that it makes sense for your brand as well. So like for example, Courtney, this blood and honey. Courtney, you can talk about. No, this is your stuff, but the way they collaborated their two brands is that Courtney makes the mugs, and then Blood and Honey is the name of one of Shelby's books. So making it relevant for both brands. Kimmy asked, do you have tips for building an engaged follower base? I've been following other accounts, but heard that isn't the best strategy. Tips for building an engaged follower base.
We kind of talked about that last week as far as always staying active on the pages. So making sure to like and comment on other people's posts, making sure to always respond to comments that you receive on your posts. What else did we talk about last week?
We also believe that building in these different content types will also help bring an engaged following. So making sure you're not just doing announcements, or that you're not just promoting events, making sure that you take a nice mixture and balance of these and tailor it towards your brand. And you don't have to use all 9 of these. I mean, that's a lot, but maybe using a few, seeing how those perform, mixing in some different other types and seeing what your audience is most engaged with, or that makes sense for you. Number 8 is informational or informative or informational. So this is stuff that is actually it's not the most fun post or creative, but it's helpful information, it's resources. So for example, if you're writing a blog and you're providing these tips to people, this is really a great way to add value and keep people coming to your page, other than just understanding like, okay, well, they have a new mug for sale. It's learning more about the company on the different side.
And I'd also kind of tailor it to your audience too. So something like with Clay Plant Road, we kind of figured out early on was we were trying to post these videos about, how we make our pots. And we honestly noticed they didn't do well, which we thought was weird, but it's just because our following base is more people that buy from us than it is other potters. So you really have to figure out what your audience is and where you can provide value to them.
Michelle asked, with people being interested in people instead of businesses, are there suggestions? What are our opinions on doing a profile picture of you instead of the logo?
Oh, I'm so torn on that. I personally love logos, and I like consistency of logos being utilized across platforms, but I also understand, if you personally really are the face of your company, if you're a fitness coach or a personal coach, like something that's all about you, it might make more sense to have your photo. What do you think, Bo?
I think so too. And Michelle did say like a sole proprietorship versus having employees or a team. So I would agree with that. And then lastly, one of the most fun content types is holidays and posting around major holidays and events. So finding a time of the year that is a big day and creating content around that, planning for example, Valentine's Day is coming up, doing a Halloween post, New Year's, 4th of July, any of those that make sense. Oh, also like the smaller holidays like National Cookie Day, somehow incorporating, say, a cookie that's colored with your business colors or has your logo on it. Something fun and that you can also maybe eat.
I think it's fun opportunities to work with other brands too. Like that cookie example, that's a great way to support another local business that perhaps makes decorated cookies and partner with other businesses like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, we're about 10 minutes left. We will try to get to these other slides faster. Content types. So we just went over content types. Content tips are creating batch content. So for example, instead of taking have a photo shoot, have a 2-hour photo shoot, get all the photos you need for a few months and utilizing those throughout your time instead of trying to take photos every week or every day. Follow industry leaders. So if there's big companies that you really admire what they're doing, see what they're doing, use them for inspiration and tailor your content for your audience. Share others content. So for example, if I'm going to use like a launch example, if Launch Terre Haute, since they are very specific for entrepreneurs and new businesses, if they shared a resource from Forbes magazine that said best entrepreneurial tips for 2021, it's a way to share others people's content and you don't necessarily have to create it yourself. And then also using photos across all platforms. So if you do get photos for your website, make sure you use them on social, on your personal pages, just being able to utilize all the content you can and cross promote.
Okay, so now we're going to go over just like a few quick photography tips or ideas maybe for you to get some more professional pictures. So just some overall tips. I know I went over these last week, but I'll just briefly go over them again. Always using natural light if possible, unless you do have a professional lighting setup, but I'm guessing most people don't. So always position yourself like by a window or just any sort of bright natural light if you're indoors. Using a newer iPhone or camera to take your photos, or investing in a newer camera or a phone or a camera tripod to help take videos on your phone or camera. And then when taking photos of people, we generally recommend like avoiding patterns that could vibrate on camera or phone camera, and also avoiding stark white. And then also just wear nice clothing for pictures. Like we wouldn't normally recommend like tank tops or anything like that. And then also, this is simple, but it can ruin a photo easily. Check the background before you take a photo. Make sure there's like no trash or trash cans or just random objects that you perhaps are going to see later and be like, well, I can't use that now. Try new angles. So like literally laying on the ground and taking a photo from down below, that might be a new perspective, or trying a bird's eye view or flat lay. Just try varying photo types. And then the last thing, which we'll talk about more, is if you're wanting something more professional, hire a photographer. So this is pretty specific to product photography, but I mean, it works in a lot of different industries, and we couldn't recommend them enough, is having backdrops. So they're great. It's a great way to set up a space in your business that might not take too much time to set up.
Or that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So if you buy these backdrops, you're able to take like some photos that are very consistent, especially like I mentioned, if you are taking product photos. And again, always use natural light if possible. And then the last thing, again, if you're wanting a more professional look, hire a photographer. We think this is great because like Bo mentioned, this is great for batch content creation. So you are able to get, 50 photos and utilize those over the span of a few months. So it's a nice way to get a big grouping. And also we recommend using those photos across everything from social media to your website to Google Business.
Yes, Google My Business and Yelp.
And Yelp.
Because user-generated content on Google usually does not look the best. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. Okay, resources. We're gonna go over some different resources we like to use. Some of our favorites are unsplash.com. It's a free photography. Well, it's for stock photography, but everything is free. People upload them for the goodness of their heart and for good exposure. Courtney uploaded her photos there for many years and gotten a lot of downloads. The Unum app is great for Instagram. It's a way to organize your photos and pre-plan your feed before you actually post it, especially if you're wanting to keep that coherent aesthetic look. And they do have a free version, but you can get a paid version as well. Of course, Canva. If you haven't heard of Canva, I don't know what you've been doing, but if you haven't, this is a great resource to keep your brand consistent, and they have a desktop and a mobile version. So, for example, but I would reiterate that even if you're using Canva, sticking to your brand themes, don't just keep clicking a bunch of different templates that you think are cute. Pick ones that you like, but then make sure you're using the same fonts, colors, imagery style, etc. And then Courtney, if you want to talk about Lightroom Mobile.
Yeah, so Lightroom Mobile is a great free app to edit photos. If you're wanting to edit raw photos or edit on your desktop, you do have to pay for the Adobe app, but the version on your phone is still great for simple edits. And it's nice to, even with the free app, you still are able to like upload presets for photos to make all of your imagery more consistent. And you can find presets a lot of places. You know, they have them on Etsy or other websites.
For $3 to $30, like they can range depending on how advanced the.
Yep.
editing.
So yeah, and presets are a good way to. They're not like the most professional option, but it's a good way for you to make your photos pretty consistent.
And then, like we mentioned earlier in the chat, we figured out the name Business Suite for Facebook. So they have the regular Facebook app and the regular Instagram app, but this one's really tailored towards businesses and being able to just use those features that you're wanting to schedule out posts or that are really focused toward your Facebook page. And you can toggle different accounts if you manage multiple accounts. Yes, and you can schedule directly through the app or on desktop version as well. And thank you for joining us. I'm glad that we didn't go over on time. We were kind of worried about that, but let us know if you have any questions. Please drop them in the chat. Get in touch with us by email, website, or phone, and connect with us on social media if you're not already. So thank you. Michelle asked, thoughts on Linktree or similar link in bio sites?
Yeah, I mean, I personally love link in bio. I think it's a great way to give people like direct access to specific things.
Courtney, do you mind talking about hashtags? Jen asked about how to get more followers with hashtags. I know Clay.
Yeah, so there's a few different like ways you can go about using hashtags. I mean, we always try to use the maximum amount when possible. It can be about a few different things. You know, it can be about what industry you're in. It can be about the location you're at. It could be about what the specific photo is about. A lot of times there are things that you can utilize, and we utilize some things for hashtags, but a lot of times we kind of come up with them as well. Also seeing what other industry leaders are doing or tagging them as well. So the best example I can give is for our pottery, we use a national brand called Amico Brent that creates wheels and clay. So a lot of times we'll use the hashtag Amico Brent, and they might reshare our post or something along those lines. So if you're using materials from a larger business, you could utilize those hashtags, or like I said, the location, you could utilize Indiana, Park County, Terre Haute, whatever your location is that might be searching. Yeah. Do you have any other things?
Yes, and making sure you don't use the same hashtag batch for each post, making sure that if you're like, I put like these in the example, industry, location specific, and relevant to the photo. So making sure that the relevant to the photo changes throughout your time.
Yep.
Don't want to post something about candles and then you're posting about the process or those types of things. And a hashtag resource that we like to use is called display purposes. In addition to just Instagram's hashtag research, displaypurposes.com. And those are, you type in, say like coffee, and it'll show up 10 relevant coffee hashtags, and then you can narrow it down according to that. We always add hashtags in the comments, usually, unless they are specific to your brand. Like I would say like 1 or 2 in the post and then the rest in the comments. But
And I think that's kind of just a personal, I
Mhm.
don't know that there's research saying one way or the other is better. I personally just don't like to see them in the caption itself. So that's kind of why we've chosen to put them in comments. But I know there are people that put them in the caption as well.
yes. Oh, and putting hashtags in your Instagram stories and location tags is another way to really increase your visibility on stories. So if you take them, put like 3 or 5, and then shrink them really small and change them to a background color and hide them, that's another way that you can get more reach. Thoughts on ways to post in Facebook when posting links? Doesn't matter if you let the Facebook generate the picture or have it, or just use the URL. Should you share your own previous event post or post a new one?
As far as the generating the picture, to me, it depends on if you're posting a picture with it as well. Because you can either only have the URL preview with like the website preview or your picture that you're uploading. So if all you're posting is the website link, which we normally wouldn't, we normally recommend putting photos with all things. So normally for us, when we put URLs into a Facebook post, it can only be the URL. It can't be the picture and link, if that makes sense.
And should you share your own previous event post or post a new one?
I'm not sure what that refers to. Like in what circumstance?
Is it for a recap?
Or are you talking about if you have like reoccurring events?
Can I just say it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm from the Children's Museum.
Hey.
So we would make an event, and it would post an event. First off, I'm not really sure how Facebook interprets posting an event for one of our toddler programs in terms of an event versus a regular post.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if we get a couple days down the road and we want to revisit that, are there thoughts on like sharing that event again back as a post, or just posting, because that's also going to drive people back to our website, or then creating a post that just takes them to our website, talking about the same event in 2 or 3 different ways, or going back and recycling content, I guess is what I'm getting at.
To me, it probably depends on what your main call of action is. If you want them at the Facebook event or if you want them at the website. For like a pottery event, we normally want them at the Facebook event because we want them to like mark themselves as coming. And we don't have like a fee necessarily that they need to go to our website for. So
If you're selling tickets.
yes, if you're selling tickets, I mean, it might make more sense to get them there versus to the Facebook event.
I would say just be consistent. So if you're only telling people to go to your website, do that. And if you're having people do the Facebook event, it's also in your audience as well. So you could test it out. Say, okay, well, we're just going to drive people to our event and see how this works. And then maybe drive to your website, the different one, and see which one gets better traction.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully that helps. If not, we can definitely talk more about it.
Yes, no problem. Thanks, Jamie.
Any other last minute questions before we wrap up?
Feel free to unmute if you need. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Hopefully we answered some of your questions and was able to provide some different tips and resources on social media strategy. Yay. Thank you for all the good feedback. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.